Hello everyone, I'm Miss Rafa, and today we're going to talk about problems and puzzles. Let's get started. Focus on problems and puzzles. Brain teases. Improve your thinking skills with these challenges. Problem-solving strategies. Understand. Before you can solve a problem, you must first understand it. Read and reread it carefully. Plan. Once you understand the question, decide on what method you're going to use to solve it. Try. Use your plan to help you find the answer. Check. If you think you have found the answer, read the question again. Have you really answered the question, or have you missed something? So we have understand, plan, try, check. Try these. A. The portrait. A visitor to a house sees a portrait and asks who it is. His host replies with a puzzle. Brothers and sisters, I have none, but that man's father is my father's son. Whose portrait is it? The host's son. B. Measure it right. You need exactly 400 milliliters of milk for a recipe. You have a carton of milk and 2 containers. One holds 300 milliliters and the other contains 500 milliliters. How do you measure out the 400 milliliters you need? First, fill the 500 milliliters container from the carton, then fill the 300 milliliters container from the 500 milliliters container. The 500 container now has 200 left. Now pour this 200 from the large container into the 300 container. Then fill the 500 container again from the carton. Now fill the 300 container from the large one. What is left in the 500 milliliters container is 400 milliliters exactly. Family life. A husband and wife have 7 sons. Each one has a sister. How many are there altogether in the family? 10. 7 boys, 1 girl, and 2 parents. Clockwork. Let's suppose a clock takes 2 seconds to strike 2 o'clock. How long will it take to strike 3 o'clock? 4 seconds. Marbles. Divide 470 marbles between 3 boys, Omar, Isa and Ali. Omar must get 120 more than Isa, and Isa must get 70 more than Ali. How many will each boy receive? Omar receives 260, Isa 140, and Ali 70. Now let's go to the activity book. Reading. Skills development. Why can't I remember? We all forget things, and it's so true that as we grow older, it becomes harder to remember things as quickly as we used to. But just like any other part of the body, the brain and the power of memory can be exercised and improved. Here are some tips for improving memory. Association. This can be a helpful way to remember names. For example, try to associate the name of someone with another image, something that reminds you of that name. Imagine meeting someone called Mike, for example. Try to visualize a microphone to remember his name. The next time you meet Mike, you'll immediately think of a microphone, and you won't need to be embarrassed by forgetting his name. Acronyms. These are a good way to memorize lists or any sequence of items. An acronym is a word or phrase made from the initial letter or letters of other words. Acronyms are very common in everyday language. NBA, National Basketball Association, and SCUBA, Self-Contained Underwater Breathing Apparatus, are just 2 examples of acronyms that have now become words in their own right. Read these people's tips. What technique do they use to help them remember? I'm always amazed at the way the head teacher remembers every student's name. Then one day, I overheard him as he met a new student. While the student was walking away, the head teacher said to himself, "Claire, she has clear eyes." Every time he saw her, he remembered that she had clear eyes and her name is Claire. This is association. Can you guess why I always imagine my new art teacher with 2 wings? His name is Mr. Wings. I was the first one to memorize his name. Association. I had to find my way from a station to a house in London once. I just kept saying to myself, DESH. It was the initial letters of the street names I had to pass. Darling Street, Edgar Avenue, Shirley Street, Herrick Road. This is acronyms. Writing. Compare the following sports and activities and write explanations for your choices. Sports: cycling, basketball, football, volleyball, gymnastics, athletics, boxing. Explanation: difficult, fun, easy, tiring. Free time activities: watching TV, reading, listening to music, doing art, doing puzzles, playing games. Explanation: relaxing, interesting, creative, useful. Use the following phrases to help you explain your reasons. To give your personal opinions, use I think, in my view, or in my opinion. To contrast ideas, use however, on the other hand, but. To add to an idea, use furthermore, also, in addition, as well as. First, read Tina's choices and explanation. Answer the questions and complete the gaps. What is she comparing? She is comparing reading and watching TV. What criterion does she choose? The criterion is concentration. I think reading is much more interesting than any of the others. For example, you have to concentrate when you're doing it. It's not as easy as just sitting on the sofa pressing a button on a remote control. On the other hand, watching TV can be better when you are really tired after a long day studying. You don't always feel like using your brain when you're trying to rest at home as well as at school. هذا نموذج للموضوع. Now compare two or more activities. I think playing football is much more interesting than watching TV. Playing football makes you very active. Also, when you play with your friends, the friendship becomes stronger and you'll be outgoing. However, when you watch TV for a long time, you will feel tired and your sight will become weaker. In fact, I prefer playing football than watching TV. That's everything for today. Thank you very much. See you next lesson.